Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for joining me tonight. For those of you that are on, we are attempting to do something new with our Climax After Dark broadcast. And we have a guest, Agent Jess, and I think now. So hopefully I'm doing the right thing with having her come on. Did I do it right,
Yes,
Jasmine?
yes. Let me fix my camera though. You're good.
Before we start, I do want to say that I'm the last person that anyone should put in charge of doing anything with IT. I have my limitations. I still am of the AOL age group. So, but this is Climax After Dark. Everyone, thank you for joining us. We generally do this on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel called Climax After Dark where we have wonderful conversations about all things sexual. And tonight we decided to try something new and bring it to Instagram for those who follow us on Instagram so that they can take part. So, for everybody that's joined us, thank you for waving. Thank you for saying hello. Thank you for joining us. And I'm so excited to have Jasmine here with us, Agent Jazz. She
Hey y'all.
is a realtor in our area. Jasmine and I have connected a number of times business wise, discussing things all business and women's leadership. And so I thought it'd be nice to have her here tonight to talk about um, just that, being bold as a woman and being a leader in business and how your sexual health and your sexuality can impact your role um, in business. How you doing, my dear?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks.
I took some notes so I could be ready.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Um, I am just like always. I think this is most women juggling multiple things. So to let everybody know, I still do a lot of things in women's health, including delivering babies on the side. I'm on call today, so we might be cutting this short at some point if somebody's ready to push. But I'm so glad to have you with us tonight. So glad that you can be here.
Of course. I'm happy to be here. So,
Well, I do want to get into it because, again, I was joking earlier, I come from the age of AOL, so I'm already telling my age, right? Um, Being in business can be challenging on multiple ends. This is February. We are celebrating Black History Month. And in Black history, there are many women who have made strides, and many Black women who've made strides in business. Next month is Women's History Month. And so, we as women are powerful forces, but we are oftentimes in industries that are male dominated or dominated by other ethnicities for us as Black women. And so it can be challenging to really be ourselves and um, be our even sexual selves. And that can impact how we interact with one another and interact with our other colleagues. Just thinking about what's going on in Georgia right now with the discussion about relationships in the workplace. Is there an impact that your sexual health can have on your overall success in business?
yes, for sure. But I think that whether you are abstaining from sex, married, in a relationship, in a situationship, you just have to be confident in your choice of what your sex life looks
Mm-hmm.
like. I think that a lot of people think that if you're not having sex, you're down in the dumps, you're not happy. That's not true. I think that just being confident in whatever you choose to do sexually helps build your internal confidence. And being in business, being an entrepreneur is all about having confidence because you have to show up every day.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, it definitely does have an impact, but I think it really falls back to, are you comfortable with what you're doing, who
So
you
would you
are?
Would you say your industry is like more male dominated?
For sure.
Okay. And then how do you balance that? Like, how do you balance who you are as a woman, showing up as yourself, being true to yourself, but also wanting to exert some type of like masculine energy?
I think that we win as women when we just show up as ourselves.
Hmm.
But I think the balance comes in knowing who you are. You can't do anything successfully until you've done the inner work and know who you are so that when you do show up, you're showing up as yourself. And in a male dominated industry, as women, we have to be on our stuff. You have to be the expert in your field. You have to know what you're talking about. You're going to be challenged. They're going to question whether you know what you're talking about or not. And the more you know, the more you're confident in what you know, it it shouldn't be a problem. It
Yeah.
won't be a problem. Yeah, you might go home and think about it later, but know that you won whatever situation you're in as long as you show up as your true self, because people can't deny
You
that.
know, I have to echo that. So, obstetrics and gynecology has shifted, you know, but medicine as a whole has always been male
Yep.
dominated. And so, showing up as your authentic self is not always looked highly upon, right? Especially when you're dealing with those who may come from different walks of life, but also come from different experiences. And you want to be able to connect with people no matter who they are, no matter what their gender is, what their sexual orientation is. And so being authentic helps a lot, but sometimes you can feel judged, you can
Oh, for
feel
sure.
belittled, especially when we're going through those challenges that are unique to women, childbearing, and menstruation, menstrual times of periods, and things that only maybe another woman can understand.
Yeah.
It can be challenging in a male dominated society. Would you say, or industry, would you say that it's affected like your ability to be successful, to sell?
I think that you do need to harness that ability to code switch, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's from a race standard or I'm a lady, you're a male, you wouldn't understand. I think that being able to discern and be in the moment as a professional, however that shows up to be, will put you ahead when
Mm-hmm.
in times when we're cramping and we don't feel like being at work or our hormones are all over the place. Um, it's also okay to feel whatever you feel, apologize. Like, it goes back to knowing yourself. Know what time of the month it is. Know what situations maybe you should or shouldn't step into,
Mm-hmm.
because I know this is how I usually feel here.
Mm-hmm.
Or, okay, I have to deal with this person. Okay, I know what I have to deal with or how I need to speak up. Or I think that I don't think you should ever like tone down who you are,
Mm-hmm.
but also be able to read a room and be
Yeah.
respectable in that room.
Yeah.
So I think it just comes with a lot of balance. And again, being sure about yourself. Know the words that are coming out your mouth. No, we're
Mm-hmm.
not always going to be perfect, but they have an impact, and your integrity, your character, who you are, is going to come out, and people will judge. That's just
Yeah.
human nature.
Yeah.
But just try to present yourself in the light that you want to be seen in.
So let's talk about code switching a little bit, because that term is pretty loaded, right?
Very.
For those who are with us, what does code switching mean to you?
Yes. Tell us. Um, Code switching. I see a lot of like memes or things on threads or Twitter where they're like, oops, I said such and such slang in a meeting. And it
Mm-hmm.
was like nobody else in the room knew what I was talking
Mm-hmm.
about.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I had another interview before, and I was like, I wonder if I can say that's dope,
Yeah.
because somebody might not understand what that's dope means.
Yeah.
Like, so knowing correct maybe dialect to use in a certain room, but also still being true to yourself. And sometimes you might have to explain what that means. I watch a lot of sermons, and there's a mix of people in a crowd, and they're like, "This is what this means." So just explaining yourself too might be a thing, and that just shows a little bit more your character. But code switching is knowing what type of rooms you're in, knowing how you need to show up. I think you can be more of your more authentic self if you're in a room full of Black people and you're Black. Um, that's just natural. You can talk about more things that we know, like natural hair or sew-ins or things like that, if you know the audience knows what you're talking about. And that goes with any different type of crowd. If you can see what your audience is, okay, what should I present here? Or what will I have to explain if I do present something that they might not be familiar with?
So, okay, with code switching, right? You say something that maybe those that you're more comfortable with, those that are in line with maybe your beliefs or your background would understand because you have a shared experience. And you are in a different environment and you say something maybe that environment's not used to, right? Do you feel like it's your requirement? Do you feel like it is your duty to explain what that means?
I think it might go off the reaction that you get
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, but I think in most cases people do feel like they have to explain, especially if maybe it slipped out or I think the reaction for
Yeah.
sure. Like if everybody's looking like, what do you mean? Or, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that. You might have to
Because
explain.
I mean, I honestly think that there's something to say about like educating those around you, right? Now, is it your responsibility to do all that educating? I wouldn't say no. Like we're not here to educate the world, but like to bring people into that conversation. There's nothing wrong with it. But
Shine some
totally, we
light.
all code switch, right?
Yes.
We all do because you're in different environments, and I think it's not necessarily something that is. Um, I don't think code switching is something that is unique to Black people. I
No,
think many people code switch. I think it is,
I can't hear you. Oh, you're back.
okay. But I think it's within the demographic or group of African Americans when we talk about code switching mostly.
Yeah, but you're right. You do have to code switch sometimes with different ethnicities or different groups of people, more professional settings versus maybe less professional settings. Um, so, yes, code switching is a thing. We're paused right now, but hey, y'all, thanks for hopping in. I see some of my followers in here. And please comment below how you, if you're a woman, how you deal with being in a male dominated industry.
So, for me in medicine, I literally have one of the things I also talk about is how when I'm in the room, I'm really never perceived to be the physician. And that comes on all sides, right? That comes as a Black woman, that comes as a woman, even in an industry or in a field where I take care of women. And it can be challenging. I mean, it can be demoralizing, to feel that way. But to also, some people I think oftentimes say the perception is from the person that is receiving the treatment, but there's also what is just like happening in reality.
It can be a real
Yeah, it
thing.
can be demoralizing because you've worked on yourself, you've worked through a lot of
You
things, and
work
you've
to
put
get
in all
to
the
where
time
you
and
are,
energy, and to not receive like full recognition can hurt. So there is. I don't want to say there's a chip on my shoulder, but there is like an inner strength that we all have to um, have to continue to move forward.
for sure. I look super young. So people are always like, "Are you the agent?" And I'm like, "Yes."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or they'll just test you. They'll just test your
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, what you know. So that's
Yeah.
why I said I think it's important to just be an expert in your field, but also know that you're not going to know every single
Yeah.
thing, and that's okay. Nobody does.
So when that happens to you, how do you work through that?
Honestly, if someone says something, I know what I look like. I know who I am, but I also know my expertise. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
certain subjects. And I honestly don't speak on what I don't know. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that puts me ahead because I'm not going to fake it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I am going to follow up and say, okay, I can figure this out for you. I had a home inspection once and a dad was there and he was like, oh, how old are you? And I was like, I'm such and such age. How
Mm-hmm.
old are you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes I'll get like snippy, but most times I'm just like, I'm this age, but your son trusts me.
Mm-hmm.
So I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm dealing with. And I just continue to be professional, continue to know my craft and know what I'm doing. And that's that inner confidence that I got this. Like I
Mm-hmm.
have worked hard to be here. I have overcame certain struggles. So you might feel a type of way because I look like I'm a teenager, but I know I'm over 30 and I know what I'm talking about. And this client trusts me. So I think I have strength in that.
So with like those that strength that you have to have, right? There's also like societal expectations, stereotypes that are already out there for women in business, single women. Um, but you're someone who is a being who wants relationships. And honestly, you should be proud to be your sexual self no matter where you are. How do you balance that in an industry that's male driven, where you want to be taken seriously, but you also want to be able to express yourself?
I think stand on your morals, stand on who you are. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again, but know yourself. If you like to dress a certain way, know why you like to dress that way. Be comfortable in how you dress, whether it's sexy, whether it's more chill, whether it's laid back, and be comfortable and okay with that. Guys are going to come and hit on you however you look, but know who you are and know that just because you dress a certain way or you are a certain way or you're just a female, that you don't have to do anything that you don't want to do, that it's okay to have morals if you don't want to sleep with
Yeah.
somebody. It's not going to get you further success wise, and if it does get you further, how is that going to make you feel at the end of the day? And if you're okay with doing something, do that. But if you aren't, or if you think further ahead and how this might affect how I feel or how other people feel about me, or if it doesn't work out, don't do it. I think standing your ground, standing in who you are and being okay with that, whatever it is going to be your best bet.
Hmm.
Um, I
So we,
have
we have like
morals. I'm
Me
not going to
Too.
do anything I don't want
Yeah.
to do. Don't do anything you don't
Yeah.
want to do is okay.
Yeah. Like the Me Too movement,
Yeah.
in which there's a lot of sexual harassment. One of the things I say is that we talk about sex at Climax a lot, but sex has been abused in
Oh,
many
yeah.
instances, and sexual harassment is something that continues to happen in the workplace. So those who women oftentimes get blamed. Now, okay, here's a good question. You said dress however you want to, but is there a way that it's like, you're on the
Oh,
you're on the far end, and is there some level? Would you say there's some level of um, responsibility that we have as women, or just as people to I don't want to just say be professional, dress in a professional way, but to hold back on how much we show in the certain settings?
I think there are always going to be standards. Whether you want to push the limits or, to your point, like go to the edge of that, I think that is a personal decision. Now, your client is going to be your client, but you have to be confident in you.
Hmm.
So if you're feeling like it's a little too risky, then it might be. Or if there's a dress code, don't automatically go against the dress code because you just want to be yourself. If you want to do well in whatever role, yes, follow a standard if there is a standard. If there's a dress code, follow the dress code. It's not going to kill you. But also, it can be a deterrent for some.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're dressing to the far extreme of maybe too sexy, or if you're too lax, will somebody take me seriously? And that's going to go back to, who are you catering to? And will your audience respond to your audience, not someone else's audience? Because I know we often get caught in a scheme of
Yeah.
comparison, but will your audience be okay with that? You don't have to dress super sexy. You don't have to dress super lax, but you do want to be comfortable in what you're wearing.
So then let's have this honest discussion, right? Because if you're in sales, you're in business, no matter what form of business you're in sales, right?
Yep,
There is a side of your business that's sales. You're trying to get somebody to purchase or to sign up or to somehow to partake of your service, your product, whatever. People like attractiveness,
they do.
right? People like something that they see that's shiny and pretty, that's shiny and handsome, that is pleasing to the eye, right? And some of us take advantage of that,
Oh, yeah.
right? To
Yeah.
try and make the sale, to get the promotion, to get the client. Would you say that's something you see a lot in your industry? And is it a bad thing to use your sex appeal, to use your attractiveness to gain a footing?
I have this conversation a lot, actually, whether it be with other realtors
Mm-hmm.
or throughout my real estate team. So with my real estate team, we do have a standard. You do need to dress professionally when you're going out, or you at least need to be put together, even if you're going to the grocery store. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
saying you got to be dressed to the nines, but you need to look like
Mm-hmm.
something, because it's a representation of our team.
Mm-hmm.
As some of my realtor girlfriends, yes, we've had talks like dressing better,
Mm-hmm.
looking your best will definitely, more than likely, get you more business.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I know a lot of realtors that dress in jeans every day and sneakers, and they do okay. I think it does go back to your audience, but I think you also have to be aware of what kind of comments or people that you will be attracting and knowing how
Mm-hmm.
to handle them.
What's your
Um,
message?
one more time.
What's your message? You have to know what your message is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And stick by it. And know how, if, okay, you're going to be attractive. People are going to be attracted to you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Whether, no matter what you dress like.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not interested in dates, you don't have to go on dates with all these people just to get a sale. I wouldn't recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about houses, you want to talk about building your business, great. We can talk. We can have a lunch. I don't have to go on a date with you. And if that's what you're aiming for, again, know your standards and stick by them. You didn't lose a customer. Everybody's not your customer.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's not your client. Um, but I don't think you have to subject yourself to anything you don't want to do.
Yeah.
But I know that there is a pressure with looking better, especially with social media.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Especially with social
Yeah.
media.
Yeah. I think there's an unrealistic like expectation
Ex-
for
yeah.
what sex is, what is sexy, and then how you should present yourself if you're trying to do that. There definitely is. But let me play devil's advocate, right? If we are saying that we should be free as men and women to be our sexual selves in the context of um, um, respect for one another, and also in the context of consent. Is there something wrong with then using your sex appeal to move ahead and get ahead? You like, is there something wrong with using
What
and again, I'm devil's advocate
what
because
God
I
gave
don't really
you to get ahead.
what God
And
gave you that, yeah.
I don't I don't think it's anything wrong with it. I think you just have to be comfortable with it. And if it makes you uncomfortable, do not do it.
Yeah.
That's how I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
Because people are going to hit on you.
Yeah.
Whether you're in sweatpants, getting gas at the gas station,
Yeah.
or if you look super attractive, people
Yeah.
are going to hit at you. How do you respond in all instances? How do you keep it if you want to keep it professional? But don't do anything you do not want to do. But I don't think it is a problem to use your attractiveness to attract more clients.
Okay. So then, putting you on the
Do
spot,
it.
would you say that's something that you've done in the past?
Yes and no. I feel like I like the way I dress. I dress a certain way for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's too sexy. I know
Mm-hmm.
for some it might be too risky. Like today I have a skirt on
Mm-hmm.
and I wear pointy toe heels almost every
Mm-hmm.
day. And people are like, "Ooh, sexy." I'm like, "Yes, every
Mm-hmm.
day." So, but that's what I like and that's how I like to be
Mm-hmm.
presented. That's what I like to look like. Um, but I don't think I put myself out there as too sexy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I don't want certain attention.
So is there a line between fashionable and sexy?
I think there's I think there's
Mm-hmm.
a line there.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
there's there.
Sometimes it's thin because if you're like, what's this?
It's definitely thin.
What's this girl's name? Not Megan Fox, the other one who she's always naked when she's dressing. Like if you're like her,
Most
there's
of
a
them
line.
are
Yeah.
always naked,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah. And I
and
mean,
I don't and
you,
I don't dress like that.
yeah.
I'm gonna be somewhat
Yeah.
covered, but
Yeah.
and if being naked is your
Yeah.
thing, that's
Yeah.
your thing. But just know what type of attention that you're gonna be getting,
Yeah.
and know how to handle it.
So let's segue into like dating, right? Dating as a professional woman, dating as a young woman, dating as a woman who is in settings where she wants to be, what they all say, taken seriously. We all want to be taken seriously. How do you navigate that? Because you're meeting your clients, right? You're meeting your colleagues. Those are the settings that you're in, and you can be attracted to somebody in those settings. Is it taboo to dabble on the client side, on the colleague side? Is it free game?
Honestly, I think it's free game. But at the same time, I think we have to be thoughtful of the ramifications of our actions.
Yeah.
So know who you're talking to. If you want to get to know somebody more, that's okay, that's fine, but make sure it's outside of that, maybe business or professional setting. If you're having lunch with someone, you're like, oh, they're attractive. Okay, schedule something else as well.
Mm-hmm.
Try to really take the lines and make business business
Mm-hmm.
and whatever else, whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
And get to know who you're going to deal with because it can come back to you negatively if maybe they weren't serious or maybe they talk a lot or they don't actually respect women the way you thought they would
Mm-hmm.
because of that lunch meeting that you had. So I think that getting to know someone is important, business or not. You need to get to know whoever you're going to be dealing with and just be cautious and aware of whatever ramifications that may happen, whether it be a client or a business associate, because it's okay to date.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, I also know your HR policy.
Right. That
Don't
part.
lose your job over a
Don't
date.
don't lose your job over a date. Um,
You know,
love is
I'm one
love,
to talk.
yes, but don't
Don't lose
don't
your
lose your
job.
date.
So I married my boss. My husband, when we were dating, we were on the same team. He was the resident over me as a medical student. And we started dating soon after we met. And we're married now for a very long time, but at that point it was kind of hush hush,
Yeah,
because we didn't want anybody to know that we were dating, didn't want any drama in the hospital. It was not Grey's Anatomy as we see on TV. There's a lot of other stuff happening. There is Grey's Anatomy stuff happening in
Oh, I'm
hospitals. I
sure.
will be honest because I have walked in on a couple of those things. But
Humans
uh,
are going to be humans.
yeah, humans are going to be humans, especially under stress and tired and, stuck in the hospital for hours. But we weren't Grey's Anatomy. We were just dating, but we kept it hush hush. Um, but I will say that who else you gonna date but who you see?
That's
I'm only seeing people
that's
that
so
I'm
true.
working with in the hospital. But again, in this day and age, you have to know your HR policy on that. So if you're looking for to be a Mrs. or Mister um, with a partner at work, know what your policy is. And I think a lot of people are figuring that out
So when
now.
you kept it on the hush hush, a question for you: were you comfortable with that? Is that something that you guys both decided to do, and maybe why?
Um, I think we were comfortable with it. Like it was on the hush hush. Other students and residents doing the same thing
Yeah,
because we see each other for hours at a time. So you know, dating wasn't an unusual thing. But when they were on the same team, a lot of people just didn't say anything. And then when you left the team, okay, you said you would, say something if it was serious. So I was comfortable with it, but we decided to do that just based upon, I don't know if it was really like a true decision that we made, like a real decision, or if it's just something that kind of happened because you just don't want so many people but in your business, right?
yeah.
I continue. I don't want to be too political, but I continue to think about what's happening in Georgia with these prosecutors and how they dated one another, and all the drama that's happening from that. Who paid for what? Who? But when your colleagues, and we're all like high functioning people who want other high functioning people in our lives.
Yes.
So if you're telling me to sit and be at work for 12, 15 hours, what am I supposed to do? I need to
Right.
have sex. I need
Okay.
to meet
Yeah.
somebody. I need to move on and procreate, or enjoy my life. So it's going to happen. So I think having like a work policy that is reasonable, and of course, right, you don't want to have um, supervisors taking advantage of those that they are supervising. And so I can see where those liaisons are tricky, but let's be realistic about it.
If you're there all day, who else am I gonna find?
Yeah, who,
Like,
who else am I going to find? So that's what happened with me. So I am loosey goosey when I talk about like us um, you know, sex in the closet, in the broom closet, or intimacy in the workplace. Because I did it, and I got a husband, and I love him.
yeah,
We're still together, and we're fine. And the patients we were taking care of, none of
they're
them,
fine.
they're fine too. And actually, most of our we share a lot of patients, and a lot of our patients enjoy the fact that we're a couple, because you know they can get a lot of stuff done faster, so it's benefiting them.
Yeah, that is good.
So if you had to give advice to other young women in your position who are setting out their career, or in like the middle of their career, and you want to be your sexual self, but you want to present as a professional. Um, if you had to give advice, and I know we've talked about it some, things that you've done, but if you had to give advice to like your younger self going into this field that you're in now, what would you say to yourself?
Know who you are. Um, Truly work on yourself. Know what you're comfortable with, but also know that you have the ability to change. And if you want to change, or if you want to look a certain way, or if you want to be a certain way,
Hmm.
give yourself grace and know that it's okay to want to be that. Put in the work to do that. And don't feel like, I think imposter syndrome is like
Yeah,
the word of like the last few years,
yeah,
but you're not an imposter if that's something that you truly want to do. You work at it and you become it.
yeah,
Um, so knowing yourself also gives you confidence. Study up, be the expert. And I think that's for any entrepreneur, period. Know what you're talking about. It just helps you in the long haul, and it helps people be more comfortable with trusting you and giving you their business.
Yeah.
Um, I think that would be my
Yeah.
advice.
I think that's pretty good advice. I think imposter syndrome is real, and it's on all levels. It's on all levels of society and professionalism. And so really, I guess, knowing your North Star, knowing who you are, but then also having community
Yep.
helps too. So, and that community can be professional, that community can be family. I think it's really great when that community is professional and it's professional on the social side, like social organizations and stuff to join like that.
Yeah.
Another good place to meet people.
Yes. And like have your standards. Have a
Yep.
routine. Be consistent. And I think that the more consistent you are, the more you do anything, the better you become at it.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take time maybe to get in tune with who you want to be or where you want to be. But it's not impossible and it's not out of your league. I don't think anything is impossible. I don't think anything's out of anyone's league. You need a strategy
Yeah.
behind it. Put your system in place. Be consistent about it. Know that it takes time and you will be just fine.
Yeah. Jasmine, thank you for coming on. Thank you for
Thanks
talking
for
to me.
having me.
I think this is, a conversation we don't have enough, right? About what it's like to be ourselves in the business place, but also really, being true and being real. So thank you for talking with me about it.
Thank you for being an advocate for all things sex and taboo because a lot of subjects are still taboo and people don't want to talk about them, but they
Yeah,
also don't know how to handle them. So I think the more discussions we have, the better understanding we can have to navigate in what we do.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I do want to plug one thing that we are doing at Climax for the month of March. We're having a Women's History Month happy hour.
Okay.
There are a few special guests that we're going to be having at this happy hour where we're going to be delving into what a lot of what we talked about here today, what it's like to navigate challenging spaces as a woman, and how have some women in our community who are currently writing history in our community and having successes as women who are firsts in their field and in their sectors, how did they write their stories? So we'll be doing that March 15th at Cantina Laredo in Virginia Beach Town Center. I'd love for you to come
I'm
join, bring
definitely
your friends.
going to do my best.
Good. Yeah, because empowerment's really important and community is important. So it's going to be a great time to find community. Jasmine, can you tell us how people can find you if they are interested in meeting you? One, because there's a lot of other things that you do other than being such a successful realtor in our area. Can you tell us how people can get in contact with you?
You can follow me on Agent Jazz on all social media platforms and text me, call me. My number is 757-654-5259. It's on my page, but feel free. My website is agentjazz.com. Real simple. So you can find me there and I answer. So never
Thank you.
feel like you're bothering me.
Thank you. Thank you. I know I'll be calling you soon because I have a couple projects that I'm working
Call
on.
me. Call me. I'm ready.
I'm trying to be a mogul. So we got to get that together.
We're gonna get it together because you
Yeah.
are mobile. You are. You're doing such great work, and I am very proud of you. I'm happy to be in the circle. So,
Thank you, my dear. Thank you. Well, have a good night. Everyone, have a good night. Thank you for joining
yes.
us on Climax After Dark. First time on Instagram. Maybe next time I'll get it right as we go live. Thanks, Jazz. Have
Fix
a
the
good one.
video. We'll be fine.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.